Hi everybody, it's Mrs. Slusher in my new temporary library space, and I have a special read aloud for you today. This book was inspired by Mother's Day, which is coming up this weekend, and this is called A Chair for My Mother, and it's about overcoming obstacles. It's about family, whether it be family that you are born with or family that you create through your neighbors and your friends. It's about helping each other and really appreciating what we have. So this is a very sweet story. This is A Chair for My Mother by Vera B. Williams. My mother works as a waitress in the Blue Tiled Diner. After school, sometimes I go to meet her there. Then her boss, Josephine, gives me a job too. I wash the salt and peppers and fill the ketchups. One time, I peeled all the onions for the onion soup. When I finish, Josephine says, "Good work, honey," and pays me. And every time, I put half of my money into the jar. I wonder what jar. It takes a long time to fill up a jar this big. Every day when my mother comes home from work, I take down the jar. My mama empties all her change from tips out of her purse for me to count, and then we push all of the coins into the jar. Sometimes my mama's laughing when she comes home from work. Sometimes she's so tired she falls asleep while I count the money into piles. Some days she has lots of tips, and some days she only has a little, and then she looks worried. But each evening, every single shiny coin goes into the jar. It's like they're collecting the coins for something. I wonder what they're collecting it for. We sit in the kitchen to count the tips. Usually, Grandma sits with us too. While we count, she likes to hum. Often, she has money in her old leather wallet for us. Whenever she gets a good bargain on tomatoes or bananas or something that she buys, she puts by the savings and they go into the jar. Poor Mom does look tired, doesn't she? When we can't get a single other coin into the jar, we're going to take out all the money and go buy a chair. Yes, a chair. A wonderful, beautiful, fat, soft armchair. We will get one covered in velvet with roses all over it. We're going to get the best chair in the whole world. That's because our old chair burned up. There was a big fire in our other house. All of our chairs burned. So did our sofa, and so did everything else. And that wasn't such a long time ago. Oh, so they're saving to buy a new chair, and they need a new chair because they lost all of their belongings in a fire. My mother and I were coming home from buying new shoes. I had new sandals, and she had new pumps. We were walking to our house from the bus. We were looking at everyone's tulips. She was saying she liked red tulips, and I was saying I liked yellow ones. And then we came to our block. Oh no. Right outside our house stood two big fire engines. I could see lots of smoke. Tall orange flames came out of the roof. All the neighbors stood in a bunch across the street. Mama grabbed my hand and we ran. My Uncle Sandy saw us and ran to us. Mama yelled, "Where's Mother?" And I yelled, "Where's my grandma?" My Aunt Ida waved and shouted, "She's here, she's okay, don't worry." Grandma was all right and our cat was safe too, though it took a while to find her. But everything else in our whole house was spoiled. I'm glad everybody was safe, but that is so scary, and that is so sad to lose all of your things, right? What was left of the house was turned to charcoal and ashes. We went to stay with my mother's sister, Aunt Ida, and Uncle Sandy. Then we were able to move into the apartment downstairs. We painted the walls yellow. The floors were all shiny, but the rooms were very empty. The first day we moved in, the neighbors brought pizza and cake and ice cream. And they brought a lot of other things too. The family across the street brought a table and 3 kitchen chairs. The very old man next door gave us a bed from when his children were little. My other grandpa brought us his beautiful rug. My mother's other sister, Sally, had made us red and white curtains. Mama's boss, Josephine, brought pots and pans, silverware and dishes. And my cousin brought her very own stuffed bear. Everyone clapped when my grandma made a speech. "You are all the kindest people," she said, "and we thank you very, very much. It's lucky we're young and we can start all over." So all of their friends and family and neighbors who honestly treat everyone like family, right? They all take care of each other. They help them to restart. That was last year, and we still have no sofa and no big chairs. When Mama comes home, her feet hurt. "There's no good place for me to take a load off my feet," she says. When Grandma wants to sit back and hum and cut up potatoes, she has to get as comfortable as she can on a hard kitchen chair. So that's how come Mama brought home the biggest jar she could find at the diner, and all the coins started to go into the jar. Now the jar is too heavy for me to lift down. Uncle Sandy gave me a quarter, and he had to boost me up so I could put it in. I don't know, it's looking pretty full to me. After supper, Mama and Grandma and I stood in front of the jar. Well, I never would have believed it, but I guess it's full, Mama said. My mother brought home little paper wrappers for the nickels and dimes and quarters. I counted them all out and wrapped them all up. On my mother's day off, we took all the coins to the bank, and the bank exchanged them for $10 bills. And then we took the bus downtown to shop for our chair. That's got to feel so special to have saved and worked for so long, right? To get something so special that you will appreciate so much. I'm excited for them. We shopped through 4 furniture stores. We tried out big chairs and smaller ones, high chairs and low chairs, soft chairs and harder ones. Grandma said she felt like Goldilocks and the 3 bears trying out all the chairs. Finally, we found the chair that we were all dreaming of, and the money in the jar was enough to pay for it. We called Aunt Ida and Uncle Sandy, and they came right down in their pickup truck to drive the chair home for us. They knew we couldn't wait for it to be delivered. I tried out our chair in the back of the truck. Mama wouldn't let me sit there while we drove, but they let me sit in it while they carried it up to the door. It does look cozy. We set the chair right beside the window with the red and white curtains. Grandma and Mama and I all sat in it while Aunt Ida took our picture. Now Grandma sits in it and talks with people going by in the daytime. Mama sits down and watches the news on TV when she comes home from her job. After supper, I sit with her and she can reach right up and turn out the light if I fall asleep in her lap. What do you think, guys? What a sweet story. Thank you for reading with me. Hopefully you've been coloring your Mother's Day bookmarks, and have a wonderful week and a wonderful weekend. Be kind to your family and your neighbors who are like family and your friends who are like family.